Okay, so we're going to zero in on this one. Really powerful moment in history. Think of it as the exact point where the old world, the one guided by this divine booming voice, just goes quiet. And in that silence, our modern world of anxiety, that's where it's born.
And it all kicks off with this, honestly, it's a chilling idea. Just imagine for a second. The voice that for centuries told everyone what to do, how to live, what was right and wrong. Suddenly it's just gone. Not with some big explosion, but with this deep, unnerving quiet. That's the main event we're digging into here. It's a total cosmic shift.
So that's the big question, right? When the ultimate authority just disappears, what fills that empty space? The answer to that, well, that's the whole story we're about to explore.
All right, so our story kicks off in this phase called the Twilight of the Archangels. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a crisis for us humans, it's a cosmic event. We're talking about a moment when even the archangels, the celestial messengers, look around and realize, whoa, the game has completely changed. The old rulebook, it's out the window.
And this gets us to the core idea here, the obsolescent word. What does that mean? Well, think of it like this. All those divine commands that basically structured reality for thousands of years, they've become obsolete. Kind of like an old piece of software that just doesn't work anymore. No more updates, no more support. And what does that leave behind? A huge spiritual vacuum. And as you know, a vacuum never stays empty for long. So back to our question. What fills that silence? That booming voice of command is gone, and in its place, a new sound starts to creep in. But it's not another divine message. No, it's something way more unsettling. This sound, this is what takes the place of God's voice. It's described as a low hum of modern unease. You know that feeling? It's like the background static of a society that has totally lost its way. All the old spiritual anchors are gone, but there's nothing new to hold on to yet. It's basically the sound of everyone feeling anxious, all at once. So what is this hum, really? Well, it's a symptom of something deeply wrong. It's the sound of nihilism taking root. You know, that cynical belief that life has no meaning, that nothing really matters in the end. It's the sound of the herd, of people just going through the motions without any real purpose. And where does this road lead? To something the philosopher Nietzsche called the last man, a society that's just comfortable, content in its own stupidity, a world with no big goals, no struggle, no striving for anything great. Okay, so you've got this new world. It's silent, but it's also filled with this hum of unease. This kind of world needs a totally new kind of response, a new kind of hero, right? The old answers just aren't going to cut it. And this is where our main character, Zarathustra, steps onto the scene. He's the messenger for this new era. And this really shows you the massive shift that's happening. You've got two paths here. The old path is the forest saint. He's all about spiritual quietism, just sitting back, passively praising a god who, remember, isn't even talking anymore. Then you have Zarathustra's new path. He's like, no, we can't just sit here. His mission is active. He's here to announce a new ideal, the Overman, this idea of a future, greater human. And the key is he's looking for meaning not up in the silent heavens, but right here, in the meaning of the earth. But look, to go up against this hum of unease and to take on the massive challenge of creating entirely new values, Zarathustra can't do that by himself. He's got some help, what the story calls his supernatural aid. They're symbolic animals, and each one represents a virtue that he absolutely needs to pull this off. So who are his guides? It's the eagle and the serpent. The eagle stands for pride, and we're not talking about arrogance here. We're talking about the strength to soar high above that low hum of the crowd, to keep a higher, nobler perspective. And then there's the serpent. It represents wisdom, the wisdom to stay grounded, to be connected to the earth, and to embrace this life, the here and now, as the only one we've got. So, armed with his guides and this incredible mission, Zarathustra is finally ready. He leaves that quiet, old world of the forest behind him, and he gets ready to deliver his very first message, not to a hermit, but to the noisy, chaotic world of the marketplace. This is it. This is the moment everything has been building towards. So you can see the whole progression, right? First, the divine word fades away. Then, he rejects the passive, outdated path of the saint. And now, he walks into town. A town with the symbolic name, the Motley Cow,
which is just a perfect metaphor for the chaotic, noisy herd of humanity. He's standing right there on the edge of it all, about to speak.
And this is the heart of his very first sermon. Just listen to this. Humanity is a rope over an abyss. I mean, what an image. It's both terrifying and totally electrifying. He's not there to make people feel comfortable. Not at all. He's there to tell them that humanity, as it exists right now, is not the end goal. It's just a dangerous, shaky bridge, a tightrope, stretched between the animal we used to be and the greater being we have the potential to become. So the goal isn't to save humanity. It's to overcome it. The point is to use that rope to get across the abyss and create something entirely new, something greater. And that's the Übermensch, or the Overman, a person who finally has the guts to invent their own values.
So here's the bottom line, the most crucial part. Zarathustra's mission. It has to be destructive before it can be creative. He's got to smash the old tablets, the old moral laws, the old values that were handed down by a God who's now silent. Why? To make room for something new. To create new values that aren't based on some promised afterlife, but on a powerful, radical love for this life, the here and now.
And that brings us to the final lingering question, and it's a big one. Once those old tablets are smashed to pieces and the divine silence is total, well, the responsibility lands squarely on our shoulders. If the old rules are broken and gone, who creates the new ones? Who has the courage, the wisdom to actually write them? That's the challenge that's left hanging there, ringing in the silence.